Hey, hockey fans, and welcome back to another edition of Puck My Life. As you can see, Mark is not with us again tonight. The sickness is still running through the family. Hopefully, he can be here Friday night. We're not sure yet. So, if not, we'll have something else planned for you for Friday night. But in the meantime, my good buddy Cody has graciously accepted my proposal to have him come on the show tonight and discuss our game experience that we went on and saw the Pittsburgh Penguins out in, I don't know why I'm like Penguins, the Pittsburgh Penguins out in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing well. Excited to be here. Glad to be on.
Well, thank you. Do you want to give like a little backstory, quick introduction as to, who you are and why you like hockey, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, so I grew up here in Michigan, a big hockey state. Grew up watching the Red Wings, local team Saginaw Spirit as well. You and I, we've been going to games now together, it's 7 years now? Been a while.
Something like that, yeah.
And so with my job, last few years, I've been able to travel, move around quite a bit. I've lived in Montana, Wyoming, California, Arizona, giving us some neat chances to go to some games and some places pretty far from Michigan. So big fan of the NHL and Wings fan number one, but love the NHL as a whole.
Yeah, so in the future, we'll be going over some of those other experiences that we've had outside of Michigan and outside of the country in some upcoming videos. But tonight, we're going to be discussing the Pittsburgh Penguins. So the Pittsburgh Penguins play at PPG Paints Arena out in Pennsylvania. And for us, it was a 6-hour, 16-minute drive, 405 miles, which wasn't too bad. We went in January, and surprisingly, the weather wasn't all that bad. And it actually was a nice, easy drive. Hopped on the turnpike and just kind of made our way over. And yeah, it really was not that bad, but definitely worth it. So this is PPG Paints Arena. If you probably know this, Cody, I know this arena is fairly new. Do you remember how old or how, like, when it was actually constructed?
Yeah, so I think it opened in 2010, so it was right after those couple of back-to-back finals where Detroit and Pittsburgh played against each other. Pittsburgh won, or Detroit won the cup in Pittsburgh at I think it was, they call it the Igloo, their former arena, and then Pittsburgh came over to Detroit and won the cup at Joe Louis Arena at the time. And I think the season after Pittsburgh won the cup in 2009, so that following season, I think somewhere around 2009-10, they opened up and started playing here.
Yeah, it's a really, really nice arena inside and out. And yeah, I really like when we were walking around the concourse and looking around at this arena, it felt like that there really wasn't a bad seat in the house. And yeah, it was just well laid out, good angles for viewing. We actually sat where you see this, what is that, Bet Rivers or the Rivers? It was that casino section.
Yep.
We sat kind of like just in front of that to kind of give you an idea for the first game of our 2-game road trip. So this experience, we're actually going to be talking a little bit about the 2 games that we saw when we got to see them play the Kraken for the very first time in Pittsburgh, and we got to see the Red Wings play. So yeah, it was a pretty cool arena. So the first thing that we go over in our game experience review is parking. So it seemed like there was quite a bit of parking. Now, Cody and I, we actually stayed at a hotel in downtown, which I think we were it was like a half mile. So
it was maybe 5-6 blocks. It was like a 10-minute walk. It didn't seem like it was that bad, but it seemed like there was a lot of parking all over the place, and it seemed like the parking was really not that bad. In front of the arena, there was actually a church that had like some parking. They were only like $20, and they were like literally right in front of the arena. Then there was plenty of lots to the
to the north of that. So there's plenty of parking downtown, but it seemed like it got really congested really fast. You can see there with the way that everything is lined up that there's just kind of streets going every which way. And I think there was like a bridge over there, and it's just like all this stuff. But yeah, so but it seemed like if you were going to go down there for a game, it did not seem like it was too bad at all. But like I said, we stayed at a hotel down there. We just left the car in the parking garage the whole time while we were down there. We just walked around to everything. But as far as if we were just to drive in for one night or whatever, it seemed like it wasn't really all that bad for parking. We were kind of paying attention to that as we were kind of walking around the arena.
Especially for a downtown arena, it seemed like parking, to me, it didn't seem like it'd be that difficult.
Yeah. Some of them we've seen that it's kind of packed in there, like Toronto was pretty bad. We had to go quite a ways down before we found something that was open, but this one didn't seem like it was bad at all. All right, next up is tickets. So for tickets, I believe we got these through Vivid. Am I correct?
That's correct. Yep. Picked them up through Vivid.
Yeah, so really not that bad. The one night, $50. Second night, $67. I think really the one night it was really more money because of the two factors. One, you can see we sat lower bowl the first night, and then the second night we were in upper bowl. But I think it was too, a lot of people wanted to see the Kraken because it was their first time ever playing in Pittsburgh, and it didn't seem like there was a few Kraken fans. You were actually rocking your Kraken jersey for that game, and we'll get into it a little bit later, but there was a big difference between sitting in the lower bowl as opposed to sitting in the upper bowl. Now, do you remember, Cody, when we were actually looking at the tickets for the second night, roughly how much it was to sit in the lower bowl? I feel like they were like twice as much.
It was, yeah. It was. I feel like you're looking north of $100 for lower bowl. Where obviously for the Kraken game, we were south of 70 sitting, lower bowl. And I think those tickets, you can see right there on the picture of our tickets there. We bought them pretty close to the game, so not too bad for buying them, especially the Detroit game. I think we bought them the day before. Yeah.
So, and I think with the long history that they've had with the cup battles and everything, I just think that we'll talk about it more later, but these teams do hate each other, the Penguins and the Red Wings. So we'll get into that a little later. So, all right, next up is the merch. So when we first came in to the arena where you saw the outside shot, we entered in that entrance both nights, and just as you walk through security, you were met by the Pens Gear, which is the merch shop for them. I don't know if this is actually open to the public like during the week. I think they have like another shop somewhere downtown where they do stuff, but it seemed like it had like a really nice selection. I felt like it was one of the bigger ones that I had been to. I would say that it was probably roughly about the size of the one in Detroit, but the one in Detroit is hard because it's got that section in the back that's kind of long and skinny.
Yeah.
But this one was kind of like more
very open
square.
Layout. Yeah.
I felt it was laid out a lot better, and I felt like they had a much bigger selection. It seemed like
it was busy in there too. A lot of people buying
for sure.
Stuff.
Yeah. It was definitely cool. So that night we went, the first night we went and saw the Kraken, like I said. So the January 27th game. So I actually picked it. I'll show. So we got the game night the game night puck, and it was $10 for this puck. They just had them like stacked up like a mountain on a table, like when you walked in. A lot of people were like running over and trying to get them. I tried to get Cody to buy one of these, but he didn't end up snagging one. But he did. You want to show the one that you did snag? Yep. So you got
big fan
one
of
the official game pucks.
It was,
and then I got one
$20.
as well, but I got kind of more of a throwback logo. Yeah, they were $20. So a little bit more on the pricier side, but it did come with the case. And like we've said in other videos, I think these cases run like $8 to $10 depending on where you're at, just to get something like this. So it's kind of cool that it comes together. We didn't buy no jerseys or t-shirts or anything from this arena. We're not really big Penguins fans, but we knew we had to knock this team off of our list. So we're like, we're getting the pucks and we're getting out of here for the most part. So, but one thing I did want to say, so we kind of, I think I talked to you about this, but so we went online to see what was happening with these pucks. And we've noticed that with the Kraken last season being their inaugural season, that a lot of their pucks for the first time playing at an arena were going really high. And so I was like, well, I'm going to see what this one went for, because it didn't seem like they had a ton, but they had like some other little kiosks throughout the arena. And I think they just got like a couple, like the one we walked by, I think they had like 4 of these. So I don't know exactly how much they had. The guy in the eBay listing I'm about to show you was claiming that there was 100. Now, I don't know, Cody. Do you think? I think there was more than 100. I don't know.
I would think so from that mound of pucks once the gates open. 100 seems low.
Yeah, 100 seems low. Well, this is what ended up happening. So this puck ended up selling for $305 and $5.15 for shipping. 19 people were watching this puck. So I really don't know if it was right, but in the description, he was saying that there was only 100 there. Regardless, this is pretty insane. Now that, in hindsight, wish I would have bought at least a second one, because we were talking about that. If we would have each bought 2, kept one, and then sold the other one and got close to this price, it would have pretty much paid for each of our halves of the trip that we went on for the 3 days. And we would have profited from it. So it was pretty cool. I'm glad I snagged it. It was a nice one to have for sure. All right, next up was concessions. Now, concessions, they had a pretty big variety of concessions, I must say. It smelled really good throughout the whole arena. Prices seemed to be pretty okay. I know you got, what was it you got the second night? You got like, I
got some
pulled pork nachos or something.
Nachos. They were excellent. I think they're like $11. So pricey than what you normally buy for stadium prices. Not terrible, but they were very good, excellent nachos.
Yeah, it seemed like they had really good food selection. It seemed like it was pretty on par with a lot of the other NHL arenas that we've both been to. So concessions, it seemed like it was pretty good, and it definitely, like, a lot of, like, even little bars I've noticed, like, around the perimeter too. And they just had a really good selection, and they were doing the food right there for sure. All right, atmosphere. This is an interesting one, because night 1 was one experience. Night 2 was a totally different experience. So this is where we sat for the first night. I felt like we had really good seats.
Oh, and, definitely, yeah.
Do you remember, I was thinking about it today, when we were at this game, were we on the end that Pittsburgh shot at twice, or were we on the side that, I think you had us sitting on the side that Kraken shot at twice, if I remember?
Yes, yeah, correctly. I think the Kraken shot twice on this side, because I know, spoiler alert, that game went into overtime, because remember the game winner by the Kraken was scored at the opposite end of the ice from where we were at. So I think during regulation, the Kraken shot twice on our side. Yeah. So the fans in our section, of course, they were chirping throughout the whole game, but it seemed like they were definitely civil compared to the second night. We'll get into that in a minute. But overall, like, sitting lower bowl, it was a really good experience. To be honest, I don't know if I'm ever going to be back in Pittsburgh, but if I was, I would definitely go to a game again. How about you? Definitely, yeah. And, I wore a road jersey both nights, and there wasn't a ton of Kraken fans there, being there, on the West Coast team coming over to the East Side, and their first time ever playing there. But no issues at all wearing a Kraken jersey there. Lots of comments, lots of fun. People checking the jersey out. Everyone was really friendly wearing the Kraken jersey.
Wearing the Kraken jersey, because they haven't been around long enough for the Pittsburgh fans to hate them yet.
Exactly.
The Red Wings, on the other hand, that's a totally different story. But the first game ended in a overtime win for the Kraken, and that was a really cool thing, because for the history of the Kraken, it was their first ever overtime win in franchise history, which, it's like, this was like what, halfway through the season,
Right about, yep.
roughly. Yeah, right about halfway. And so it was really cool to be there for a historic thing like that. And I think that might have been too why the puck went a little bit higher, because it had that kind of tie to it. If you go back in the video and you look at what the title said on that listing, he actually did put that it was the first overtime win for the team. So that was really cool, and it just kind of added to that night. And the final score was 2-1. So not a very high scoring one, but it was really cool to go in there and see the Penguins lose. It felt good when we were walking out. All right, so night number 2. This was the view from our seat. So I thought even this view wasn't too bad.
Oh, and, absolutely.
Upper bowl, it was really good. There was slightly tighter, obviously, than the lower bowl, but not too bad. The one thing that could have been better is there was this couple that just before intermission was done, every single time they got up and left, and then they would come right back as in like at the beginning of the period, and a lot of the people up there weren't really like, I don't know, they were getting up all the time.
The etiquette was, not what you normally experience, I guess, in a hockey arena.
Yeah, it's just there was a lot of movement in the upper bowl, and a lot of people were drinking up there for sure. So the final score of this game was 3-2, and that one ended that one ended in a shootout, didn't it?
I do believe so. Yeah, that was a shootout.
So we saw overtime win the first night, a shootout win the second night, and about 5 to 8 minutes before I took the picture that says we got the dub, the lady who was sitting by me or behind me and her husband that were chirping us the whole game. They were saying stuff that I can't repeat on here. It sounded like it was all in good fun, but just before, a couple minutes before I took that photo, she spilt beer all down my back on my brand new hoodie, my jersey, and my coat, and it went. I think I got all of it. I don't think you got any of it.
I was spared, but
yeah, you were spared. But that was the first time ever I had beer spilled on me. I turned around and I just give her a glare. She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And it's like, really, like, the jury's still out on whether she did it on purpose or not. And then her husband, when I looked at him, he just shut up and didn't say anything. So
I classified it as a case of criminal negligence.
Yeah. So it wasn't. I don't know. If I will say this, if I do go back and I'm cheering for the opposing team, which most likely I am, I'm probably never going to cheer for these guys under any circumstance. But I am not sitting in the upper bowl again. So
we'll go during playoffs. We have rally towels to dry the spilled beer off of us.
Yeah. At least you have that, and it's a little warmer out. And that was the other thing too. It's like I'm all wet from beer, and then we have to walk. What was it, 5 to 8 blocks or whatever it was, back to our hotel, and it's like 10:30 at night in the end of January.
Yep.
And it wasn't like, calm out. There's a little bit of a breeze and people going on. So it was a little bit of a cold walk back to the hotel. But that was, I knew at some point, because I've talked about this in other videos, that me and Cody like to troll. When we go to a lot of these games, we like to be the opposing fans. And I'm going to be honest with you, Cody. I knew this was going to happen at some point. Like, I felt like with the amount of hockey that we've been to, the stuff that's happened to us, from doing competitions on the Jumbotron to doing competitions on the ice and all this other stuff. You can, if you haven't already, check out the Instagram. That stuff's over there. But I knew that of all the good stuff that's happened to us at games, I knew there was some bad stuff to follow, and I felt like this was bound to happen at some point.
What's interesting too is at that same game, when I was in line to get my my aforementioned pulled pork nachos, which were excellent, absolutely excellent.
Yep.
I was waiting in line, and a Penguins fan. I'm just standing there minding my own business, wearing my Red Wings jersey, and just boom, just shouldered me, just out of the blue, no apology. So, I mean, I've been to games in Colorado as a Red Wings fan and had no issues. So I don't know what's in the water in Pittsburgh, but
It's a question of how strong is the beer.
sure.
Yeah, and it's probably cheaper in the upper bowl, and they get all those guys drunk, and they're all like running
That's
around.
where you pay
being-
less for tickets, so your beer
Yeah.
budget's higher.
Yep, your beer budget's higher. So, and they definitely took advantage of that.
Oh, for sure.
All right, so next up is Spot the Mighty Ducks fan, and you're probably wondering, Tyler, why are you wearing a Ducks jersey? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, I don't like the Penguins, so I'm not wearing a Penguins jersey. Two, because the first night that we went to see the Kraken, I was that guy. I was the only one wearing a Ducks jersey that we could find. We walked around the concourse like every intermission, and we're trying to find somebody wearing a Ducks jersey. But for the very first night, I was that guy. And I thought I took a picture. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. But I was looking at my phone. I didn't get a picture of me wearing it. But Cody can attest to you that I was the Ducks fan for that night. I got some compliments. We're both getting compliments because you had your inaugural jersey. I had this on. So it was pretty cool. But night number 2, the section over from us, Charlie Conway was there, and he was enjoying the game. So I think we saw a few more that night.
I think so.
Yeah, it was more than just him. I think I saw like 3 or 4 people. But when I think I took this photo just after we sat down, because you can see the upper bowl isn't quite all filled up yet. Even some of the box seats down below are still pretty empty. But yeah, this was just before the puck dropped, and yeah, so guy wearing the Charlie Conway jersey was there. So let us know in the comments if you guys ever see the Ducks fans out at your games. I know it's just been something that Cody and I have always noticed and picked up on, and I felt like it'd be kind of a cool thing to add that to the list on the game experience video. So keep an eye out for that. So now we're going to get into a different part of this, just a little added thing, but Cody's going to go over what this is and how we stumbled upon it. So go ahead, Cody, take it away.
Yeah, so I think this was the day after the second game. We had the day to get back home to Michigan, and we were driving on the outskirts of Pittsburgh, and if I remember right, we were looking for somewhere to eat lunch. And so you're driving, I pulled out the phone, was looking for spots to eat lunch, and I saw on the map, I can't remember, like a training center, and I'm like, wonder. I'd had the experience of going to an NHL practice facility before, and so it kind of piqued my interest, and so I'm like zooming in on it. As we were coming up the exit, I was like, "There's some restaurants down this way. Take this exit," and then I'm like, "I think the Pittsburgh Penguins practice facility might be up here," and sure enough, it was, and so. I didn't really know if it was going to be open, what was going on. I think it might have been a Saturday. And so we're like, you know what, let's just roll in. Let's check it out, see what's going on. Maybe we can go inside and take a look around. And that we did.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of kids and families and stuff going in. So the way it was laid out is you walk into the main part, and you go to the right, and there's the rink. So this was the rink that was on the right-hand side. We're kind of in the back part of it. And then you go to the left, and then there's another rink over there. So the one was doing like little scrimmages. So we'll go back to that one. You can see they got a few different sets of nets out there for the kids out playing. So we watched them play for a little bit. It was actually quite entertaining to watch the kids. And then the other side, I'm not sure how old these kids were, but I would say they were probably maybe 10 to 12, like maybe 8
I think
to
so.
12.
I think I looked it up, and they have a few different elite level youth traveling teams that play out of that facility. So I think there was a tournament going on that day, being a Saturday, and it was a neat experience watching that.
And I can't remember what the name of the team was at this, like the Little Penguins or whatever we're playing, but I think you looked them up, and I think they had come down from like Buffalo or something like that.
Yeah, I think
somewhere in New York
team, yeah.
that they had traveled down for that. There wasn't many fans. There was a few you can see off to the left there, but it was kind of nice. They had like this like section with like bar stools and then like a little table edge shelf there that so I think we watched like one period, and I think there was like 2 or 3 goals scored, but it was kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, Pittsburgh was blowing that other team out. It was not even close.
Yeah, potential, could these kids be in the NHL at some point someday? We'll see. I don't know. But it was kind of quiet. I hadn't seen like pee-wee hockey or whatever, junior hockey, whatever you want to call it. Hadn't really seen that before, so that was kind of neat. And then as we were walking out, they had this like giant puck, and then the mascot there. That would have been cool to take home, but
sure
they wouldn't let me take it. It would have fit in the back of the car, but they wouldn't let me snag that.
It was cool. They had a little team store and concession stand in there too. So if you're a Pittsburgh fan, it's definitely worth checking out if you haven't been.
Yeah, and it was the team store was actually pretty big. It was actually that little team store in their training facility was bigger than some that I've seen in other arenas for some teams. So, yeah, it's okay. We'll talk about them later in an upcoming video. So, all right, well, this is the puck score that I ended up giving the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I'm not sure what you think, Cody. I ended up just doing the total based off of the first game, but I did put what I rated the atmosphere for game 2 on there. So what do you think with my my assessment of the Pittsburgh Penguins and the puck score that I gave them?
Yeah, I think it's pretty fair. I think definitely. I'd say Red Wings fans, ye be warned, maybe.
Yes.
Because definitely, as a Kraken fan, there was a great time, and I, in a couple instances, as a Red Wings fan, I think lowered the score a little bit. But overall, I had a great time there. Wonderful arena, great atmosphere. I remember going into it, I'd read some reviews, that lower bowl, especially, it's a very corporate feel, and that there's not, fans getting down there engaged. But that was not my experience in either game there. I thought the fans were really into it. It was a really good time. So I think I agree with this almost wholeheartedly.
Okay, cool. And the next thing is the WoW/X Factor. There wasn't really anything that like blew me away. Like their intro, they didn't even really dim the lights all the way. Yeah. If you saw in one of those photos, it was just kind of like a haze, like yellow haze. It wasn't. So I didn't even give them any bonus points for that because it's like they're. I don't know. I just didn't think that there was anything that was like that kind of set them apart. It just seemed like it was a nice arena with a few good hockey games and nothing really too special besides that. I mean,
they have a great history there. A lot of legendary players, that were on the team that night that were playing that. Yeah. Definitely. The intro could have used some work, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely. But do you agree with this that there wasn't really anything that's just like, wow, like that's cool? It's just like, eh. Yeah,
there wasn't nothing that popped.
Yeah. They didn't have anything that popped for me either. Yeah, there was. Yeah, so your total score for the Pittsburgh Penguins, you guys get a 44. So that pretty much wraps everything up for the game experience. If you haven't already, head on over to @PuckMyLife on Instagram. Give us a follow. If you want to see any more highlights from this game experience, look at our highlights tab there and click on that. You can go through some of the other games, and I believe all the other games that I have on there for the most part. Cody, you were at there with me. So a lot of the experiences that I've been on, like me and Cody, are the two that have gone on. So you'll definitely see him in some upcoming videos as we start to go over some more of these teams. And also too, there's that first pin post there. If you click on that, that's for a giveaway that we're doing. If you haven't already entered in for that, there's 2 ways to enter, one on Instagram and one on YouTube. For YouTube, go and find that video, watch that video, like that video, comment in that video, then give us a subscription. And then in the description of that video, you can find the link. Takes you over to our Instagram. Be sure to follow that, like that post, share it on your story. But you also have to tag us in that. If you don't tag us in that share we're not going to be able to see it, and we won't be able to properly enter you in for that drawing. The giveaway ends at the end of this month, and then we'll be drawing a winner on September 5th once we've verified everybody's entries. And what you will be winning for that is a Battle Creek Rumblebees puck, FPHL, considered one of the worst hockey teams of all time. We're only around for one season. And then you get one of their schedule pamphlets for their inaugural season. You'll get these sent to you free of charge to you, whether you live in the U.S. or outside the U.S. And there'll be a second giveaway if you guys help us get to over 200 followers on Instagram and over 1,000 followers on YouTube. So we're, I think, 11 away on YouTube, and I think we're about 25 away on Instagram. So you still have a little bit of time left to go and enter that. So if you get a chance to, please go ahead and do that. If you have any questions regarding that, or if you're having a hard time getting in there, you're not quite understanding what to do, just give us a message and we'll point you in the right direction. Well, that wraps up everything for tonight. I want to say a big thank you to Cody for coming on tonight and filling in for Mark. We were supposed to do like a regular podcast. I'm not sure when we're going to do that. It's on there. You can hit the notification bell for that. Whenever we drop it, I keep having to push it back. Maybe he'll be ready Friday. I really don't know. It's kind of up in the air at this point. But if he's not, I think Cody might be able to jump in again, and we're going to try to figure out another game that we can do as well. So anything else you'd like to add before we let everybody go for the night?
I don't think so. It was a pleasure to be here, and look forward to being back.
All right, awesome. Well, you guys have a great rest of the evening, and just remember, this is all for the love of hockey. You guys are awesome, and we'll see you on the next video this Friday. So have a good one.
Night.